Welcome to the Invite Health podcast, where our degreed healthcare professionals are excited to offer you the most important health and wellness information you need to make informed choices about your health. You can learn more about the products discussed in each of these episodes and all that Invite Health has to offer at www.invitehealth.com/podcast. First-time customers can use promo code podcast at checkout for an additional 15% off your first purchase. Let's get started.
I often talk about how we overlook the importance of certain nutrients in the body, and in a sense, I suppose we take them for granted. Today, I want to talk about the importance of amino acids because when it comes to their role and their function in the body, it's clearly evident that amino acids do so much to support our overall health. So I'm going to talk about a particular product today that actually supports the role of all of these key amino acids in the body for brain health. So when we're thinking about mood health, for example, when we think about cardiovascular health, I want to focus in on a formulation that we call CNS Protocol 1. So CNS for Central Nervous System, Protocol 1. So I'm going to talk about amino acids in general and then specifically in regards to this particular formulation, which is absolutely just wonderful. So I am Amanda Williams, MD, MPH, and let's get right to it. Let's talk a little bit about the importance of amino acids because we know when it comes to metabolism, when it comes to their functions, their role in terms of nutrition in the body, we have seen more and more clinical evidence supporting the true function of amino acids in the body. So we can look at things like arginine, for example, understanding the role that arginine plays when it comes to the manufacturing of nitric oxide. And we know that we have to have nitric oxide when it comes to vasodilation, so for proper blood flow and blood pressure. We know that having adequate arginine is certainly very important. We can look at things like lysine. We understand that the proper absorption of lysine helps to support healthy calcium balance in the body, which can be very beneficial for bone health as we get older. So if we don't have adequate lysine, this certainly can be a problem. Many times when we think of lysine, we think of it in that setting of immune system function, and we clearly can see that lysine does play a role in supporting the immune system and even impeding the replication of certain viruses. So when we think about things like shingles, for example, or herpes viruses that cause cold sores, we see that lysine, the simple amino acid, can do so much to blunt the ability of that virus to continue to shed itself and create havoc in the body. So all of these different ways in which science has shown us that the biological importance of these key acids in the body play an enormous role. And there was a study that came out roughly about 10 years ago in the journal called Amino Acids. So it's kind of interesting. They have their own journal. That's just how important amino acids are, not only for cell signaling, which is initially kind of what most people recognized amino acids for, but also they play a really big role in the regulation of gene expression. So we see their importance when it comes to protein phosphorylation. So when we think about maintaining muscle mass, this is why oftentimes people will utilize amino acid blended protein powders, for example, because we see that those amino acids do help to support that protein. But we also see that it does these amino acids do all of these other things in the body. So I had mentioned nitric oxide production. We think about the role that amino acids play for the production or synthesis of neurotransmitters and certain hormones. We look at thyroid hormone, for example. When we look at serotonin and melatonin, we can see where amino acids are acutely tied into this and these key metabolic pathways that are necessary for the maintenance, growth, reproduction, as well as our immunity. So all of these things that we have now recognized about amino acids, which is why when we look at a formulation such as CNS Protocol 1, we recognize that this is this blend of 21 amino acids in their free form, which means that they are bioavailable. They are ready for proper absorption into the body. And this is what makes CNS Protocol 1 so different from many other amino acid formulations, because we see that the blend of all of these amino acids together, along with their high absorption rate, really yields a significant amount of support. So when we focus in on the central nervous system, for example, we see that these individual amino acids are doing so many different functions in the body. When we look at glutamine for the support of GI function, when we look at taurine, for example, supporting cardiovascular and brain function. And then when we look at the way that things like tyrosine is working to support thyroid function, when we look at tryptophan being supportive when it comes to the manufacturing of serotonin and melatonin. So all of these different amino acids are functioning to support cardiovascular health, central nervous system function, skeletal muscle health. All of these are in this particular formula. So it has methionine. We know that we have to have methionine as part of that process of detoxification in the body. Methionine works along with our B vitamins and SAMe. We know that if we do not have adequate methionine in the body struggles to manufacture enough glutathione, which is one of our body's most important antioxidants. So this blend of 21 amino acids is giving us things like proline. And we know that proline plays a role along with lysine when it comes to the cross-linking of collagen. So even for maintaining skin health as we get older, all of these amino acids have a specific role that they are playing. And what's really quite interesting is when we start to understand that individual amino acids are generally, for the most part, doing more than just one thing. That's what makes them so important. And you can look at protein as a whole. We know that the amino acids is the building block to those proteins. So when we think about the development of our muscles, our blood, for example, our hair, nails, skin, all of our internal organs, these are all composed of this blend of different amino acids, but yet they're all working synergistically together, but they all have their own individual actions as well. So this is why we can see how certain amino acids are functioning, I said, for the support of our mood, for the support of our GI health, for the support of our immune system. And in the Journal of Genes and Nutrition, they were looking at amino acid supplementation and overall metabolic health and how there was this interplay between the microbiome and overall systemic control. And so when we think about our microbiome, we're looking at our intestinal lining and all of the bacteria that exist within our microbiome and seeing that the strong linkage between the gut microbiome and different disease states. And when we can see that amino acid supplementation can actually support the healthy flora, it really is quite fascinating. So it was kind of a detailed study where they really delved into how much of a role that the amino acids were actually playing. So I know I kind of keep going back to that, saying, amino acids play a significant role in the body, but they really, really do. And when we are using the CNS protocol formulation, this is a capsule, we are getting that blend. So we are supporting so many different functions in the body where perhaps we are subpar in our normal levels of these amino acids. So when we think about blood pressure, when we think about brain health, when we think about adequate sleep, maintaining the health of our intestines, having CNS Protocol 1 as part of your supplementation routine helps to give the body that balance. So we are supporting cellular regeneration. We are supporting all aspects of our overall health just by incorporating in these key and essential amino acids. There's much to be said about the known and the unknown within the human body. But one of the things that we certainly do recognize is that amino acids, if we are lacking those, that there are so many parts and pathways in the body that kind of go haywire. And this is why when you start to see different metabolic disorders and different chronic disease states, we can certainly see the relevance of amino acid depletion in those. And so when we start to create a balance again and reestablish those amino acids so they can start to function the way that we need them to, we start to get more of that homeostasis once again. So it's a really fabulous formulation. I certainly encourage you to check it out. It's called CNS Protocol 1. If you're not exactly sure how you should take it, when you should take it, definitely reach out to one of our nutritional experts. They are there to help you help yourself. And that is all that I have for you for today. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to the Invite Health podcast. Remember, you can find all of our episodes for free wherever you listen to podcasts or by visiting invitehealth.com/podcast. Do make sure that you subscribe and you leave us a review. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Invite Health. And we will see you next time for another episode of the Invite Health podcast.